What's old will become new again. The Holocaust Museum in North Naples reopens after a 5-month expansion. The goal is not just to bring history alive, but make it actually live in your conscience. Tonight, new at 5, you get an exclusive preview.
Well, both of my parents were born in Poland.
The stories, as you'd expect, are horrific.
My father was selected to continue to be a slave laborer.
Told by local people with direct ties to the Holocaust.
And they were then placed in the Lodz ghetto, where he worked as a slave laborer in a leather factory.
Here, you can see the worst but most important parts of history.
But his younger brother, who had a physical defect, was an experiment, part of an experiment conducted by Dr. Joseph Mengele.
And now there's more to see here. Part of the expansion at the Holocaust Museum and Education Center includes this room dedicated to the atrocities at Auschwitz.
That is something that is something that children and students do not get when they're reading about the Holocaust in a classroom. They walk into this space, they're immersed in it. And that's what teachers tell us is so important about coming here on a field trip.
Museum President and CEO Susan Suarez says what you'll experience in another new gallery here transcends the past.
And in that gallery, you can learn about specific genocides happening currently or in the more recent past through our technology and the interactives that we have in there, so it can be updated.
Because we can actually have a whole area dedicated to these things, we can really emphasize these things with students, that these things didn't develop in a vacuum.
Curator Cody Rodemaker says the local roots of the exhibits go all the way back to the museum's founding.
Started from a student project at Golden Gate Middle School.
From the boxcar out front that transported people to concentration camps to the list of survivors with names that locals might recognize, this expansion is now ready for everyone to learn how our neighbors' ancestors survived, if they did, like Stuart Mest's mother, on her own, starting at age 9.
Sometimes being taken in by a family. A couple of times they realized that she was Jewish and would sell her to the Gestapo for a 5-pound bag of sugar. But she overheard them a couple of times and she managed to escape. Amazing stories there, as always. The museum reopens tomorrow afternoon, and that boxcar in the parking lot is open tomorrow. Not every day, but tomorrow. And then after that, they're open 1 to 4 every day except Monday. If you've been there before, this new stuff they've added is just fascinating.
Yeah, I can't imagine how emotionally draining it is just to be around all of the belongings that belong to someone who may have died in one of those concentration camps.
And so many of them have ties to people who live here locally, so there's that added draw.